Welcome to Life Science Marketing Radio, the podcast where marketing leaders inside and outside the sciences share their creative ideas and practical approaches to increasing your marketing ROI. Here's your host, Chris Connor.
Today I'm talking with Joachim Eeckhout, the founder of Biotech and now the voice behind the Science Marketer. He's built and sold a media company in biotech and now helps others do smarter marketing in the space. And we're going to talk about content like podcasts and newsletters to build trust and win business. So, Joachim, welcome to LSMR.
Thanks for having me.
Bienvenue. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, thank you. Merci. Merci.
So let's start with what was the background? What got you into starting a media company? Where did that idea come from?
Yeah, it was a while ago, 2012. I was studying biotechnology in Paris. And with one of my classmates, we were really curious about what was going on in the industry. You know, like being in the university, you focus on theory and more like the science, but we are really curious about like what the industry was doing in biotech. And at the time, most of the press was still based on print, especially in France. So we just decided, okay, let's do our own news curation and put it online on a blog, and that's how everything started. So we were doing it on the side during our studies. And that's how Biotech was born, originally labiotech.fr for the French version. And after a few years, we decided to expand to Europe.
So how are you curating? I'm just curious at the beginning. Did you have like Google Alerts or some other thing to pull in?
Yeah, like the classical scheme, like Google Alerts, newsletters, a bit of social media, but at the time, like wasn't so active. Everything we could find really. We were just linking to it. Originally, like not writing anything, not creating anything, and then step by step we started doing interviews, like bit of analysis, stuff like this, and started writing ourselves. And at some point when we moved to the European version, labiotech.eu, it was really like full creation. Like we were not creating anymore. It was really like a kind of a newsroom where we were producing our own content.
How did you? I could go down this rabbit hole for a while. So because now I'm thinking, it sounds like you're relatively early in your studies. I mean, or just beyond that, and now you're looking at the entire biotech landscape in Europe, at least, and maybe beyond, and you somehow figured out you knew enough to be able to analyze these things and write about them. I don't even know what the question to ask, but how did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think step by step. That's why we started with curation, because we were still like, we didn't even have our master degree. So yeah, as you said, like not really credible. But starting with curation was a good alternative because we didn't have to create anything. We are just like the link between all of this content that exists a bit everywhere, but there is no central place for it at this time. But then, as I said, like step by step, we were feeling a bit more confident. Like you start doing interviews. I think that's really the best way. We didn't have a podcast, but we were like doing transcripts, interviews. And that's how you learn. And one big step in the learning process was the summer of 2013. We decided to do a documentary movie about the French biotech industry. And we took our bikes, we took a camera, and we drove through France to meet 25 companies or something like this. Like 2 interviews per day. It was really crazy. Like we were just going with the bike and camera and interviewing every CEO we could meet in France. And this was like a hardcore class for like being an expert. And after this, like we were really, really kind of up to date with like what was going on in biotech, and we had a crazy network, and this opened a lot of doors. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say bike, you're not talking motorcycle.
No, bikes, like
Bicycle.
bicycles.
Okay, you are my hero. Many things. So I took a bike trip through Europe long time ago, right when I got out of college, before I went to graduate school. And then this was before you could make video on a camera without tons of equipment.
Yeah.
Also, I've made a documentary, so you've done all the things. But also, I'm thinking first, how do you get the interviews with these CEOs? Hey, we're two dudes on a bike, and we're coming by to chat.
What's crazy, yeah.
But when it works, then people go, wow, that's different.
Yeah, it was really like why it works. Nobody was expecting it. And when they saw us coming, they were like even not believing it. But this was amazing because they saw like we were just like passionate. We wanted to do something good. And I still have people today, when they see me, they remember, oh yeah, this guy is the guy with the shorts coming with a bike to our office. And I'm still working with people I actually interviewed at this time, because it creates something special, and that's amazing.
That's the lesson right there. I mean, we could stop the podcast. Like you packaged it and just the story of how you produced it is a story in itself that makes people want to go, what's going on here, and how do these guys get these meetings with the CEO on their bicycle? Like, there's so much there. And then, of course, the CEOs are looking at you like, how much can I hurt? These guys have some sense of adventure, and they must be really serious about this because they're working hard to make content. Like, wow. I mean,
this was a great thing. And then we did it in like 10 countries. So we continued 4 years doing this without the bikes afterward. Like, it was just one with the bike, then we were with the train and car. But this was great. Like, to build our network in Europe, this was amazing. And our expertise as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't have a bicycle, let's talk about how to build an audience and attract clients with just a podcast and a newsletter sitting on your butt in your office. How do you do that?
Well, I think there is a lesson to learn from this. Like, be creative, be unique, create something that's a bit surprising. Like, I think in this industry, people are often like thinking too seriously, and when it comes to content, they lose a bit the creative side, unfortunately. So I think that's one lesson. Like, really, like, just go with the thing you would like yourself to see and create it. That's the best way to start.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because, I mean, my takeaway here is, I know, of course, like you do, a lot of scientists, and they have very interesting lives outside of science, right? And yet the stereotype of science when it comes to marketing and whatever is they can only talk about science, there's nothing else, whatever. And there's sort of an activation energy to get you and them over that hump to talking about the stuff that would make it fantastic for everyone. So I think it's a great lesson to learn that there's something there. If you do it differently and you package it and you pitch it differently, people will pay attention and want to participate. I mean, I'm thinking of lots of famous scientists who have other hobbies that are amazing.
Yeah, and scientists are also often like passionate people, and they know a lot. They can talk about, or even like their own science, they can talk about it for hours. But yeah, like, it's more like the extra step, like thinking a bit outside of the box, just to get something that makes you unique, or whatever, like your marketing, your brand, your positioning. Like you always need to find kind of the special things, that special twists that will make it stand out. And yeah, for this, you need to think a bit like outside of the box. You cannot just go to the competitor's website and do the same. You know, like I think people recognize it immediately, and then you end up having a kind of a boring branding. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I mean, this is sort of the same question in reverse. Like, what keeps companies from doing that? Why do you think companies
It's
hold back?
I'm still wondering. No, I think I think the nature of this industry, like being so regulated, being so serious in a way that if you mess up, people end up like having health issues, for instance. You know, if you're a biotech company, if you mess up your drug development, at the end, it's a patient who cannot benefit. So like kind of the burden they have on their shoulders is huge. Yeah, regulation is very complex. So it creates this kind of culture, I think, of everything has to be serious all the time. And then you end up having marketing, which kind of, yeah, like has to respect this, or yeah, it's kind of locked into this mindset.
Yeah.
So I think that's really why the industry is like this. And being like also like you see it in, I think, all the deep tech industries, it's always a bit slower also to adopt new marketing strategies, new kind of branding, positioning, etc. So there is also like this side of the coin. It's industrial, it's B2B, so it's always a bit slower as well.
Yeah, it's the culture. I mean, there's caution, of course, around
Mm.
development and all the things you have to do to bring a drug to market, for example. And then there's also the desire to be taken seriously, and some fear that if we are casual about our storytelling, that means we're casual about what we're doing on the bench, which
Exactly.
isn't
Yeah.
necessarily true.
Yeah.
And in fact, I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of examples of.
Yes, there is a one example I love, and I think this company is amazing. It's Plasmid Zorus. So it's this company doing plasmid sequencing. So yeah, very serious business. The business model is also amazing in itself, but that's another conversation. The marketing is totally crazy. Like they don't care at all about marketing. Like what they are doing is they are obsessing over dinosaurs.
Yep.
And if you go on their Instagram, on their Twitter account, it's just drawings of dinosaurs. On their website, they also have a page with just drawings, like dinosaurs everywhere. Um, and they did also like some crazy videos, like a guy cosplaying as a dinosaur doing BMX stunts in, I think, Oxford and Seattle and different cities. So the marketing is really like not serious, not that they don't take themselves seriously. But when you look at the service they're providing, the customer feedback, you even see it like on Reddit. People are talking about this company with amazing feedback, saying, yeah, their result is amazing. You get the result in 24 hours, etc. So you can be serious and you can have totally like different kind of marketing and still work. Like I think you create something even like more memorable, because once you see this example, you remember the company all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, it's certainly memorable. And I think about, comedic actors, for example, who are not, just as an example, many of them are very hard workers. Like,
Hmm.
Well, let's take Jerry Seinfeld, who's not my favorite, but admittedly very, very good. He works hard at what he does. But the front-facing entity of him doesn't look that way, right? But it takes hard work even to be funny and whatever. And I could go on about that. Let's talk about transferring. Like, so you had a newsletter and a podcast and so on, translating making content into making money.
Yeah.
What was the business model for your media company, and more importantly, how should companies think about turning content, translating content into driving business?
So I will briefly mention my previous company because it's different from what I recommend for biotech companies. So my previous company was and is a media company. So we are producing information, and the business model is very simple. It's advertising. So we produce information. We have a large audience because this kind of network effects with media. And then advertisers want to buy the attention we provide. Very simple business model, and everyone's familiar with this digital media business model. Now, I think biotech companies or services companies in life sciences, they can replicate some of it, but the business model is totally different, right? Like you don't want to advertise, to give advertising space for whatever, your newsletter or something like this. It's not the purpose. Maybe your company is doing, let's say, again, like plasmid sequencing, just to take again the same example. Your interest in doing a newsletter, a podcast, blog post, any type of content is also to create an audience. So that's the first step. To create the audience, you need the content. So you have to kind of commit to this, start creating the content, commit to it also in the long term, making sure that you will build something that is consistent. I think that's one of the key. And then an audience will start to be available, and you will start gathering them. Whatever the channel, I'm really like talking general model here. Then the way you make money is a simple funnel. Like let's take a podcast. I am seeing several other examples of podcasts in our industry. Most of the time, it's like the CEO of a service company interviewing other CEOs, and this is a really good idea, by the way. So they do this podcast. They spend time creating the content, publishing it, promoting it. And what happens is they are starting to be recognized. Maybe they create an audience on LinkedIn. That's also what we see a lot of the time nowadays. And from this large audience, they know that when they go down the funnel, a small amount maybe will become clients. So it's always like a very simple funnel model. Create the content, it's your top of the funnel, and then step by step, you will manage to bring people to know better your brand, know better your services, and then maybe even like book a call with you to talk about being your client. So that's how I see it. That's how I do it for my own newsletter now, the Science Marketer. So my newsletter talks to everyone interested about marketing and communication in life sciences. But I know I will not work with everyone. So basically, like from this, maybe I convert 1% to actually like people working with me. I do consulting for them. And that's my revenues. But to get to this, I need to talk to all of those people to create content that's attractive, to show my expertise. So I think that's how companies should see it. Find a topic, find a niche they want to be associated with, and start producing content. Yeah.
Yeah. So that takes, as you mentioned right off the bat, commitment, a
Yeah,
little bit of effort.
yeah,
But I think, I'm sure you've observed, tell me, like, it's beyond knowing what your company does. It's that having that actual person speaking to you, right?
yeah, yeah,
Even if it's just in a newsletter, but even better on a podcast, I think, to know the people that you might work with. And then, because that removes a big barrier already of trust and so on,
yeah.
that they think, oh, I know what Joachim's like. I mean, why wouldn't I want to work with him, right?
Definitely.
And,
Yeah, that's
and
yeah. Sorry.
yeah, and I think companies underestimate that, or CEOs underestimate that, and maybe the CEO thinks they're not working with me directly, but if you're
Yeah,
a reasonable person, I'm guessing you hired reasonable people. Like, there's an environment around your company that you're at the top of that I just think it's a huge. I don't think enough people take advantage of it.
I totally agree. Like it's a missed opportunity, and the personal branding in general, I think, is underestimated in this industry. Like what you can do with it, having a personal brand, um, and yeah, like I think people most of the time they also think like building a personal brand is like being this kind of person that's already doing selfies on LinkedIn and talking crazy stuff. It's not the case. I think you can like be really serious. Also, like be a bit like more backstage. You don't have to show your face all the time. Like just producing good content that people want to see is enough. And you don't have to go for clickbaits and stuff like this. So yeah, I really think it's a missed opportunity, especially like small mid-sized companies with maybe a CEO or an executive who is an expert. They could really do great things. So yeah,
Yeah,
this would
it's
try.
no, it's I think it's an opportunity for sure. I'd like to get more people, of course, to do that. I think, um, yeah, I'll stop on that. I want to transition that to
Mhm.
the idea that you and I talked about a little bit before, I think, which is taking those interview clips and using them to get people earned media exposure.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you can take those clips and use them as part of a pitch to a publication to say, I'm not just sending you a prepackaged quote that it's meaningless. Here's a person sharing real insights, and you get to see who they are, right?
yeah. You have a lot of repurposing you can do with content. I think so. That's definitely one idea. So yeah, let's take like you do a podcast. You can cut it in several clips, and those clips you can repurpose them as social media posts, as assets for the website, as many things, own media, as you said, like trying to place it in the press. Um, but it's also the case with written content. I think, like like producing, because one of the issue I hear quite often from clients and readers is that they don't know how to keep producing the content. Like it's too much effort. They have done one blog post and then they're completely overwhelmed because it was taking all the resources of the company. But what they don't figure out is that most of the time they have a lot of content already existing. Like old white papers, webinars, maybe interviews also like they have done, and they don't reuse it. So it's been produced once, it stays there, and nothing happens. I think like one of the easy way to make or to remove the bottleneck in content production is really like seeing this like one asset as a hub for many other types of content. So let's
Yeah.
say like you do a webinar, which many companies are doing. From this webinar, you can easily like you transcript it and you create a PDF, and the PDF becomes a lead magnet. And from the webinar, you do clips and you post them on LinkedIn, and then you have video assets, and then whatever, like you put some stuff in your newsletter, and then you put some things on your blog. You create an article from the webinar. So you have this repurposing strategy that makes it much easier because you don't have to go look for experts inside 10 times. You just, from one thing, you can kind of have a flywheel of content. So yeah, I really believe in this as well. I think that's how companies should look into it. Yeah.
So on that, I mean, I'll wrap up with this because I think this is also the missed opportunity, and it's a mental challenge, but it's not a real challenge. And that is posting the same thing twice or more, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you have to recognize. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm always. I have to remind myself that you can post 3 times the same thing. It's completely absurd, but when you post something, not many people are seeing it. When you post it again, the people who have seen it, they forgot about it. And then most of the people who see it now, they haven't seen it. And the same the third time and maybe fourth. Especially with social media, that's really like you can really go crazy. Like you can copy paste your content, not every day, but maybe like you have, I don't know, over a year, you have 4 times the same post. That's totally fine. People will really not see the difference. I think in newsletters it's the same. Like you can really like kind of repackage the same thing over and over. Of course, you always make sure there is kind of a time lapse between 2 reuse of the same thing. But yeah, it's crazy because we forget. We just forget as human people. We forget it's the case. I don't know what's the bias behind this. But yeah, companies should do it more often. Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, that's why I say it's a mental challenge. It's not actually hard to do, but it's hard to
Yeah.
get over that. And I mean, if you think about it, I mean, first of all, lately I've noticed other people pointed out to me how LinkedIn and exposure seems to be going down.
Yes.
And the reality is, the only things I see more than once on LinkedIn are the ads that are irrelevant to me. Those show up all over and over again until I say, stop sending me that one. But I never see anybody's post twice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's an issue because sometimes you're looking for a post you have seen and you cannot find it again.
Yeah, as soon as it goes away, like if I refresh my feed, I
Yeah.
cannot find that thing I was just looking at.
Yeah, it's happening to me all the time.
Yeah, that happened to me. I'm sure it was yesterday or in the last couple of days. I know I saw something. I said, I want to look at that again. I looked at some new content and I started scrolling back. Where is it? It's gone. Anyway.
Yeah. I think you have a lot more people posting on LinkedIn. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And they are really prioritizing the paid reach now. So you can really feel it because also with paid promotion on LinkedIn, you can really see the impressions go up like crazy. Without a big budget, actually, I'm doing also some experiments with some clients. And you put like, $50, $100 behind a post, and it's doing 10 times what you do with organic. So yeah, like they're prioritizing, that's how they make money. So yeah. So you have to play with the rules. It's not a platform you own. So yeah.
Yeah, it might be worth it. I mean, in a sense of 1, you get a better return, and 2, you understand like if you're being served ads that somebody else is paying for and they're irrelevant, why not put your real content out in front of your audience?
Yeah.
Exposure.
Yeah.
So, well, Joachim Eeckhout, thank you so much. This has been a blast. Again, you are my hero. The bicycle documentary thing is something I want to figure out how to. I'm not riding that far anymore, but that's just brilliant. That made my day, honestly. I can't wait to tell people about it. And as always, this podcast is free. There are no tariffs. I don't foresee any happening in the near future.
That's
Thanks
good.
for joining me.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the invitation. Was great to speak with you.
My pleasure. Hey, if you're still listening, that tells me you enjoyed the podcast. But don't tell me, tell your friends, and I'll be back soon with another episode. Okay, you can tell me too. Send an email, chris@lifesciencemarketingradio.com. Bye-bye.